had enough to eat, and that you all enjoyed it. And, well, to start with, I can only second what Roger and Jim have both said about thanks to everybody concerned, kitchen staff and the front of house staff here, the family, the flowers, bridesmaids, what else I say. And I'm a bit uncertain about this, but I think it's a bit dubious that a man in this day and age should have to be doing this. But apparently, one of the best man's duties is, for some reason, to thank the groom on behalf of the bridesmaids. Now, why the bridesmaids aren't capable of on their own behalf, I do not know. This is the 21st century. Thanks very much, Jim, for toasting the bridesmaids.
You're welcome. Pass that on.
Jim says thank you very much.
Try and get used to the craving.
110. Anyway, to get back to the battery. Prompted by this day's approach, I checked in my 1989 diary, which shows that I first met my dear friend Jim on the 5th of August that year. We'd known each other nearly a quarter of a century. That was at a birthday party for my niece, whom he was then courting. A dear He arrived fashionably late, strode across the lawn, and joined me in what is now the adult equivalent of the naughty step at such gatherings, the smokers area. There we began to bond over Rothmans and fashion spectacles. In other words, he coveted my Ray-Ban aviators, and I catched his cigarettes. This rapport secured, there followed several visits to my home in London, whilst he was doing his sandwich course, training in his optics, in the course of which the friendship deepened and expanded. And also, occasionally, he would have a brainstorm and turn up to see some very obscure musical group from the 80s, whose name I can't remember. He always was telling me that they were really good, but I don't know, they somehow slipped my mind. Anyway, my affection and admiration deepened, and it cheers me to report that our friendship has proved immeasurably more durable and more significant in some ways in my life than his brief dalliance with my poor niece, now known ever since being jilted by cruel-hearted Jim. ever since that breakup from which she has never recovered, she has been known as the Miss Havisham of Pershore. This man has a talent for giving and inspiring friendship over many years. As my two predecessors have said, there are people today who have literally crossed continents to attend. His silver-tongued talk has even been known to convince otherwise rational men and women of David Gedge's artistic and musical authenticity. It's not all been bread and circuses, however. Some of you may know the very difficult circumstances of Jim's mother's final months. Without dwelling on that unhappy time, I shall nevertheless say that came the hour, came the man. His active intervention brought much relief to her and comfort to her loved ones. Unlike many grooms of his age, Jim comes to wedlock as a first-timer because he always maintains that he would be an only-timer. Borrowing a phrase from an Emmylou Harris song, he has never wasted a minute of his time, for every road he ever took brought him to Amy's side. For those of you unaware of the latest feather in the cap of Bass, and I should imagine that is probably about 0.5% of those in this room, if Jim's glib tongue has had anything to do with it this afternoon. For those of you unaware of the latest feather in the cap of Bass, it is my happy duty to announce that we have among us today a champion among men, fresh from yesterday's triumphant showing on Ken Bruce's hot I see blank looks from just about everybody in the room below the age of 30. This is a significant thing for you young folk. Just take my word for it. From the moment his opponent's name was given as Neil, we knew it could only be a matter of seconds before said vermin was kneeling at the feet of Bass in craven submission. Boom, boom. As some may know, other quizzing successes preceded this. Not long after his arrival in Bradley St Oak, or Stoke, otherwise known, disparate elements coalesced around this gas giant, like moons around Neptune or Saturn or Jupiter, to form a pub quiz team. So successful was this quiz team, that eventually the resentful licensees of the area universally barred them. Until that happened, my Sunday evenings would be punctuated by texted requests for quiz answers. And I suspect others in this room may have had the same experience. Anyway, it pleases me to report that there was no such request for guidance after today's significant questions. On this point, he clearly needs neither advice nor second opinions. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you now to raise your glasses and drink a loving toast to Jim, Amy, and their future happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, the bride and groom.